MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 146, Junior Dos Santos versus Frank Mir for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Guys, let's talk about this fight. I want to start off with Frank Mir. Frank Mir is a guy that is going to be fighting for the UFC Heavyweight title for the fourth time. I think that's actually a record. And another thing about Mir is that he's a guy that's really been able to overcome adversity time and time again. And you just don't see that with many fighters. How many times do you see a fighter who's been so dominant and then they have a devastating loss and they're just never the same? But that's not the case with Mir. I mean, he's had tough losses and he's been able to come back to the top time and time again. And this is the fourth time that he's going to be fighting for a title. And two losses that really come to mind with Frank Mir that were crushing losses. The one against Brock Lesnar. I mean, Mir was a mess in that fight. It just was hard to imagine that he was going to be the same after that. And then the fight against Shane Cowan, climbs his way back up and loses that fight in such a devastating fashion. I can imagine what it felt like. I mean, Cowan's punches, I'm sure, a punch from Shane Cowan could probably kill an ordinary man. And he was on the receiving end of a few of them. So that was a real devastating loss. And here he is again, fighting for the title. I mean, he's looked great as of late. Two of his last three victories were finishes, knockout over Crow Cop, impressive win over Roy Nelson, dominating the fight. And then you have the fight against Nogueira. I mean, my goodness, submitting Nogueira. Who would think of such a thing? I mean, Nogueira throughout his career, I remember in Pride, guys were just terrified to be in his guard. They would do everything they can to stay away from the ground game because he was so dangerous on the ground. So, if you really think about it, that's a real impressive win, and here he is. Overeem is out of the fight, and now he's fighting for the title. So, I think as far as Mir's chances in this fight, I think his best chance is to grapple. He's got to grapple Junior, get in Junior's face, not give him any room, not fight this fight on the outside. That's Junior's fight. He's got to get in his face, he's got to grapple. And some things that I saw from Mir, which were very positive, was against Mirko Crow Cop. He pushed Crow Cop against the cage. It looked like a lot of Randy Couture Greco-Roman style fighting, and it looked really, really impressive. I mean, he was being the bigger guy, imposing his size and frustrating Crow Cop. And he was doing it over and over again in that fight. That's what made him successful throughout the fight. And then, of course, he got the knockout later on, which was also impressive. Of course, his stand-up has really improved as well. And, he's shown he's been taking punches, too. I mean, he got hit by Nogueira in the fight before he won the fight. And also, he got hit by Roy Nelson. So, I mean, he's taking shots. He's remaining composed and staying in the fight. And, I mean, you just see it's amazing to even imagine that his jiu-jitsu is even getting better. It's been so good throughout his career, but he's submitting Nogueira. That puts him over the top. Maybe him and Verdum, probably the two top guys at heavyweight in the jiu-jitsu department. So that's Mir's chances. That's what he has to do. And of course, later on in the fight, it's going to benefit him. Now, as far as Junior Dos Santos, I mean, he hasn't had to overcome adversity. I mean, he's been spectacular. His stand-up is just incredibly good. I mean, he has big power. He's a big heavyweight, 240 pounds, 6'4", and he moves around like a lightweight. I mean, incredible footwork. He's got great accuracy. I mean, his punches come from different angles, uppercuts, overhand rights. I mean, we saw what the overhand right did in his last fight. I mean, he's got enormous power. I mean, knocking out a guy like Velasquez has shown he's got a good chin. I mean, that's very, very impressive. We've known, we've seen he's knocked guys out that are hard to imagine that can be knocked out, and he's been able to do that. And, there's flashes of brilliance in other parts of his game. He's just been so good at boxing that he hasn't really had to go to it that much. I mean, look at the head kick to Shane Cowan. Shane Cowan's never been knocked out, so I'm sure that head kick may have knocked a lot of people out. And hit Cowan with that shot. He also showed that he has good wrestling. He took Cowan down, and he was shooting for a takedown. It looked good. And he took Roy Nelson down, so he's showing that he has good wrestling. I mean, just imagine how scary it is. If people really force him and push him hard in the fight, he may have to go to other parts of his game and stuff that we don't even know what he might be capable of doing. Maybe he doesn't even know what he's capable of doing unless he's really forced to do it in a real fight, because it's a lot different than training. So it's going to be interesting to see when there's a fighter out there that can really push him, to see what he can do. And here's the thing about Junior. As a point I want to make, if you look at the history of the heavyweight division in the UFC, we really haven't had a dominant heavyweight champion like we've had in other weight classes. Look at George St. Pierre and Anderson Silva. For many, many years, they've controlled that weight class. BJ Penn earlier on had the lightweight title tied up for a long time. But we haven't seen it at heavyweight. We haven't had a long reigning heavyweight champion that's been able to defend his title time and time again. It's a tough weight class. It's very tough. The guys at heavyweight are not as technical, and they don't have the stamina and the overall skill as the lighter weight classes do. But Junior's showing that he might be that guy. I mean, he's got the speed, he's got the power in his hands, he's showing brilliance in other parts of his game. He's a young guy, he's got size. I mean, this is a really, really good heavyweight. And if he can get past Mir, it's going to be really tough to imagine what kind of guy can stop him. So I'm going to go with a prediction in this fight. I'm going to take Junior Dos Santos in this fight. I think his power, I think his speed, and his takedown defense is key, because Mir is going to really depend on getting him to the ground. His jiu-jitsu is going to be a key here. I can't see Mir standing with Junior. I mean, Mir's stand-up is good, but Junior's on another planet as far as stand-up, and he's on another planet with a lot of people in the heavyweight division, and even amongst other weight classes. I mean, he's that good. And the thing that worries me about Mir is when he's fought big, strong, heavy punchers, and he suffered knockouts. You see it against Cowan, against Brock, when Brock took him down, finished him early in the fight. Ian Freeman, I know this was a long time ago, another very strong guy with heavy hands, knocked Mir out. So the question is, he's going to be able to absorb Junior's shots, and he doesn't want to even try that. Like I said, he's got to get in his face, but if he doesn't, it could be a short night for him. So I'm going to take Junior in this fight. I'd like to know what you think about the fight and the UFC 146 card. Please leave your comments below the video. Please like up the video. Please subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.